Hey, it's Adele from Let's Get Inkie, and today we're jumping into my chunky monkey of a junk journal. I am so very close to finishing this one, and I'm really excited. I've actually, since filming this video, I've filmed several others, and I've got one single spread. Actually, that's a lie. One single spread and a half page to go. So it's going to be done very quickly. I'm starting off today. This was a book jacket from a beautiful poetry book that I recently bought because the kids have been really liking listening to poems lately. And I know I say poems wrong. It's been a lifelong thing, and I can't say poem because it sounds weird in my mouth. But I found this on sale, and so I got this Forest Fairies poetry book. I'm also working with this vintage stack of papers. I went to Melbourne last year and I bought a stack of like journaly bits and bobs from one of the stallholders. I think it might have been called Habitat, something like that. And they had all sorts of like taxidermy beetles and spiders and all sorts of things as well. So I focus mainly on the paper products, and I thought that they would go with this vintagey fairy vibe. Especially this page, it had like a snail thing or some sort of snail shell-like creature. And so I'm just I'm folding that so that it fits into the seam of this TriFold page a bit easier. So, long time no see, peeps. This year has been a year. It has been a real roller coaster of a year. We've had multiple neurospicy diagnoses in the house. We've had medical appointments up to our ears. It has just been a very hectic, busy year, and it's just going to continue to get more hectic because we are prepping to move soon. But I wanted to pop on and get more regular with my YouTube videos. If you ever do miss inkiness, I always post my 8 videos a month over on Patreon if that's something that you're interested in joining. But I will be back to posting here on YouTube, hopefully regularly from now. Hopefully. We've also had a bunch of sickness this year. We've just caught everything and done that fun thing that, when you've got multiple people living in a house that you tend to do by just passing it back and forth to each other. Now here I've got this serviette, and I used a wet paintbrush just to drizzle along the edge of where I wanted to tear, and that was a tip that I learnt off someone else's YouTube video years ago, and it changed my serviette loving little life, because those buggers are hard to rip. And well, no, that's a lie. They're easy to rip, but they're very hard to rip in the way that you actually want them to rip. So I'm sticking that down with some matte gel medium. I'm going over the fold on the right and trickling it off to the spine on the left where it meets this snaily vintage book page. Now again, I'm figuring out where my picture is going to hit that folded section first, and I'm folding my image. I just find that gives a bit of a crisper fold to the picture, but it also helps it stick down better and not get all bubbly and funny. If you are new to art journaling, matte gel medium is your best friend when it comes to plonking stuff down. It's a great adhesive. You can also put it over the top of things to give it a bit of a primer coat so that, if you're using wet, soluble products like watercolor or acrylic inks, it doesn't soak into the paper as much. And so I definitely recommend trying out some matte gel medium if you haven't. It's very handy. It's also just very satisfying to slop it all over the page when you want to stick down a bunch of stuff. All right, this video did have a lot of drying, a lot of layers and things. And as always, I cut that out. But this little journal, fun story, I found it in my stash and I realized, hang on, tangent. First, I'm cutting this in a curved design just because I felt like doing it, just because I felt like something a bit different. But this little junk journal, back to what I was saying, I made it, I realized in 2015. So it's almost a decade old, and I had only done 2 pages or one page. Maybe it was just one. I created it before the kiddos were born. And the reason why I know that is because there's a 2015 Coles supermarket brochure in here. It's actually this one that I'm working on now. And yeah, I made one page, and I think it was actually a Patreon video because it's got printables on it, and then misplaced the journal completely. But I'm really happy that I found it because I've been missing my junk journal. I finished my last one, let's see. I did my Jamie journal, which is an altered book journal, which is it started off as a Jamie Oliver cookbook. That was version 1, and then I finished version 2, which was another cookbook, not by Jamie Oliver, but I just still called it the Jamie Journal. I did those last year, I think it was, or at the start of this year I might have finished it. And I have been missing having a real junky journal made with brochures and envelopes and all sorts of goodies. I have made a couple over the years and used those, but yeah, I didn't have any this size, and so I was excited to find this forgotten project. So my question for you peeps is, what forgotten project, or I guess misplaced project or abandoned project, is something that you have always had in the back of your head and just always thought about, but just not found the motivation to pick it up again and do? For me, it was this particular one. And then the other project that I've always had in the back of my head that I want to do is my house album. So I would love to do an album of all the different houses that we've lived in. Aaron and I are up to number 7 together. And I just think it would be really fun to, document the milestones that happened in each house and the pros and the cons of each one. One of them, we had a police raid that went up our backyard because someone was being held hostage behind our house. Just all the sorts of things that have happened in our homes over the years. And so I think that would be a project that I really would like to do. So drop your project that you need mojo, a bit of a boost in the comments, and we'll see if we can help motivate each other and give each other some tips and tricks in order to pick those forgotten paperwork what word am I? Memory keeping, that's the word, projects alive again. So as I've been blabbering on about my deep dark thoughts that I have at 3 a.m. in the morning, I have used a couple of different shades of blue. I've got like a turquoisey blue and a periwinkle, and I have very haphazardly painted that in the background. I wanted this page to look very collagey, very messy, and not too crisp. Because I feel like fairies live in a world of flutter and beautiful chaos, and I wanted my page to kind of emulate that. I am sticking down some different types of washi tapes, using some matte gel medium to stick those down because I do not trust washi as far as I can throw it, and I cannot throw it very far at all. My throwing skills are definitely not top notch. I'm sorry, but it's late at night and I'm doing this voiceover, and sometimes the dad jokes, they just seep out of me without me realizing when it's late at night. These are, if I had to pick my top 10 favorite products of 2024, these little flower washi flakes are definitely up there. Actually, is that a video that you guys would be interested in? Would you peeps be interested in my top 10 products for 2024? Maybe as a December wrap-up type video? Because I use those little washi flakes everywhere. They've been so handy. They're by a brand called, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's either Band or Bandy, Bande. And well worth their money because they're a bit pricey. I think they might be $10 or just under. But they last a very long time. Like with a lot of washi, I feel like washi is, if it's a roll that you really enjoy and goes with your, aesthetics and your style, I think it's worth the investment because it lasts so long. I've only finished a couple of washis in my time. I'm doing my little quote here. I have a whole bunch of quotes saved on my Pinterest board if you're ever interested or looking for something to pop on your page. And it was just a nice little quote about, life working out. At the moment, we are in a bit of a chaotic state. I can't even talk. A chaotic place with a lot of big life choices that we need to make about moving and buying houses and renting and what we're doing and children and schooling and homeschooling and all sorts of things. And I just really needed a quote that just gave me a little bit of positivity amongst all of the chaos. But yeah, thank you for joining me today, peeps. I am just finishing off this page with some nice white little daisies, just to echo the white daisies on this right-hand page. And I'm going to make a real effort to get back on YouTube. I have the next 5 weeks of videos for Let's Get Inkie and my main channel, Inkie Quill, all recorded. They just need voiceovering. But this week, if you watched my Insta stories this week, we had some tradesmen digging up concrete and no voiceovers were completed for YouTube. But yes, I'm going to get back on track because I have some fun ideas for the new year and some different types of things that I'd like to try. But jazz hands, here we are. Let me know in the comments what you've been working on. Don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, because it does help it be discovered by new inklets or arty, crafty peeps in their suggested videos. And I just want to say thanks for sticking around. Thanks for understanding that life can be chaotic, especially in a neuro-spicy filled household, which we are. And sometimes things don't quite go to plan and voiceovers don't get done when they intended to be done. But I'll see you next week over on Inkie Quill. Bye!